Morning and welcome to our first and what we hope is our last virtual run organizer workshop. My name is Donna White and I am the Community Events Director for British Columbia and the Yukon, and I'm going to do my best to play host for you this morning. For those of you that have joined us in person over the past 2 years, we miss the hugs, we miss passing out the tissues, we miss the tears, but we really miss the hugs and all of you. And for those of you who have not been able to join us in the past, we're really grateful that you were able to spend some time with us this morning. So thank you for taking time out of your Saturday morning to join us and to allow us a chance to share some highlights from 2020, share with you some new fundraising initiatives for 2021, and hopefully leave you inspired for the year that lies ahead for us all. I'd also like to welcome friends from and colleagues and volunteers that are joining us from not only BC, but Manitoba, Alberta, and Ontario today. You are amazing, amazing volunteers, are the reason that Terry's dream endures 41 years after it began. You are the keepers of the flame and the reason that people in your community have a chance to come out every year and celebrate this amazing young man who ran into the hearts of Canadians back during that incredible summer of 1980. And today we know his dream is international in scope. I'd just like to take a moment to introduce to you some of my colleagues, Christy Krawchuk, who is the Community and Events Director for Alberta, Alison Doan, who is the Provincial Director for Manitoba. Thank you, ladies, for inviting your communities to join us here this morning. Gabriel Avalar, who is our Operations Director for BC and the Yukon, who joined us in January of this year, and he's making sure that all the techie stuff that needs to happen today takes place. So thank you, Gabe. You'll meet our amazing guest speakers as we move through the next 90 minutes. Hopefully we're down to 85, but we know how hard 2020 was. And as we started planning for the 40th anniversary back at the end of 2019, this was not something any of us ever could have imagined. A Terry Fox run not in person, how would that even happen? What would that look like? How different the Canadian landscape looked on September 20th last year, and how amazing Canadians were as we invited them to join us on that one day your way. And they did just that. It was amazing to see people in their Terry Fox shirts running for Terry. Even a worldwide pandemic wasn't going to stop us, and nothing stopped all of you. So thank you. We'll just never be enough for all you did in the challenge that we were all faced with. So while we had to stop, reflect, reevaluate targets for 2020, we were humbled by the funds raised. And together for British Columbia and the Yukon, you helped us to raise a really incredible $2.6 million for cancer research, with $924,000 of those dollars coming from our wonderful communities. Out of 113 runs that we hosted last year, 45 of our sites saw increases in their fundraising. How amazing is that? In Alberta, you raised $1.945 million, with $680,000 of that coming from your community runs. And in Manitoba, an amazing $500,000 was raised, with $236,000 of that coming from your communities. Collectively and from coast to coast, our communities helped us to raise $17 million. So give yourself a warm hug for that, because we still can't hug you. I know last year I kept saying next year when we're allowed to gather again, not knowing that we would find ourselves still in the thick of COVID, but the light at the end of the tunnel is there, and we're seeing that. You share Terry's passion for the need for cancer research. You share his tenacity when things are hard, and you keep moving forward. You kept moving forward. You know courage. You showed us that courage. You showed us that determination, all the things that Terry showed us 41 years ago. So we have some wonderful speakers today, and like our in-person workshop, it wouldn't be a workshop without some prizes. So stick with us at the end to see if you're a lucky winner at the end of our time together this morning. We'll also leave the meeting open a little bit at the end. So if you have questions or comments you'd like to make, we can have an opportunity to share them then. So now it's my honor to start our morning off by welcoming and introducing you to our Executive Director, Michael Mazza, who is joining us from Toronto this morning. Thank you, Michael, for being here.
And so just adding to Donna's numbers, I'm just going to expand them a little bit. Our total revenue last year was around $26 million, and you know that was really good. An run organization that is dependent on in-person events in a national pandemic where no one's allowed to see each other. It was a massive risk for the organization, and you know, people stepped up, the RO stepped up, and you know, it was really amazing that the organization did as well as it did last year. our fundraising revenue was off about 30%. And the majority of that was in schools, as you can imagine. Last September, schools didn't know what was up. They didn't know if they were in school, what they could do, what they couldn't do. And so it was an incredibly difficult year for the schools. But the community runs, we're really close to the year before. And that's really amazing. And Donna's already said, congratulations, and, take a breath and pat yourself on the back. And I think you all should. I think people were very creative. I think they were motivated. I think they got out and were ambassadors that we all need you to be. And you connected people back to Terry's vision, which again is always our goal. And our goal is always to raise the funds to cure cancer. The heart of the organization is 100% the volunteers, and the run organizers are absolutely key to that. So, I'm always amazed as I talk to some of the organizers, like, well, I've been doing it for 20 years. I've been doing it for 30 years. I've been doing it for 35 years. And again, they seem as excited today as they were back in the first one. And it just makes me smile. So I'm again, thank you for being the heart of this organization and for keeping the passion alive and the vision. A little later, Dr. Ling's going to talk, and again, the only thing I want to say about that is the research that they're embarking on. There's the PPGs, there's the New Frontiers, there's the new Marathon of Hope Cancer Center Network, and Dr. Ling has a vision for where research is going to go in Canada. And it may be the game changer that we've all been looking for. And for me, that's just tremendously exciting. And he's done a tremendous job leading this organization as a research leader in Canada. Virtual versus in person. I know that BC is opening up. In fact, Ontario is even opening up right now. But this pandemic has proven difficult for everybody across the whole world. I was reading numbers today, and United Kingdom, there's 78% of the population has their first vaccination. 55% of the population has 2 vaccinations, and yet they posted 8,500 cases yesterday due to the Delta variant, which is obviously very transmissible and quite a problem as we move into the summer months. And so my advice to all is we need to plan virtual events. We need to be as creative as we were last year. We need to, motivate people and just say, let's keep this dream alive. We're starting to work on ideas for 2022 as this big relaunch of our Terry Fox in person runs, and I think that could be something that can be really special a year out. I know that if we get on top of the pandemic, I think that we can have minimal runs, where we can gather, and maybe some communities will be able to do that. But trying to plan for all the tents and the fun and the banners and the hot dogs and all those sorts of things, I think it'll just be wasted effort on anybody's part, as again, this pandemic has just proven itself to be very resistant and painful for all of us as we sort of continue to do the things we have to do. So again, thank you for everyone doing their part in that. Another idea that we're working on that I want to share with you for this year is we're going to be doing a broadcast on CBC on August 9th. It will be 1 hour pre-taped because of COVID, so we can't do a live broadcast, like we did in 1981. But we want to recreate some of that excitement of that broadcast, and see if we can generate some national energy. It'll all be about storytelling. It'll be Terry story, family stories, cancer survivor stories, scientist stories. We'll have some musical acts in terms of entertainment. We'll have celebrity shout outs, and all of it will be hopefully to inspire people to dig deep and make donations online or through QR codes, or the mechanisms by which we present to them. As we do that broadcast, the other idea that we're looking to try and create is, can we do, as you're doing a broadcast show, can you take another few minutes with the celebrities and others to do what would be a run show? And can we put together, maybe 15 minutes of talent with these celebrities that all the ROs can use as a baseline for their runs? And then can we allocate, whatever you would wish, because we can pin each of the shows to your unique run site and your unique URL, meaning each of the ROs could then tailor it to their run site with their own introduction and then flip it to what would be the national show. So that's something you're going to hear a little bit more about as we move forward. We're working on the talent. There's some committed, and I'm not going to share the list yet because we're just trying to firm up everybody and get contracts and all those sorts of things done. But I am hopeful that it'll be a lot of the people that you would like to see on a CBC broadcast. So look forward to sharing that with you soon. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Donna. I want to say thank you. I can't wait to get out to BC. I hope it's going to be in the fall, but we'll see. It'll be as soon as Health Canada allows us to do those things. I look forward to meeting many of you and eventually all of you. So thank you all.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael, for some insight on where we ended up last year and certainly how we're going to continue to move forward in 2021 for everyone. I now have the honor of welcoming Dr. Victor Ling. He is the scientific director of our Terry Fox Research Institute. I think Dr. Ling was the first cancer doctor I heard speak that actually talked so you could understand it. He makes cancer research something that doesn't sound so Greek sometimes too. And he also knows better than anybody that don't dare me to do anything to raise funds for cancer research, because we've seen how well that turned out. So good morning, Dr. Ling, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Donna, and very good to be here. And I just want to say welcome, Michael. It's nice to see your face, and yes, definitely come to BC, and maybe we're going to do a run together sometime. And I just want to say, for me, cancer is very personal. I know it's personal for everybody, and we all have family members that have cancer or have passed away from cancer. And so even as scientists, we face the same problem. And I also want to say that it is a privilege for me and a great honor to be involved with an organization that bears Terry's name. And I remember that every day. And I'm wearing one of my favorite Terry Fox Run t-shirts. This is from 2015. And maybe I can just stand up a little bit, and you can see that it is a dream as big as a country. And I love the t-shirt because I think it is really what Terry is all about. It bringing the country together in his very first run to a common cause that affects all of us. So I want to take this opportunity to just say thank you to all Terry Foxers everywhere. You guys have been amazing. It is not easy to persevere over the last 41 years. Last year probably more than any other year. And yet we will never give up. And so we're going to work together to deal with it. So I want to spend a few minutes to talk about cancer research this morning. And Donna, if I can share my screen, or somebody can, Gabriel, can you allow me to share my screen? And I will just show a few slides that I think might be helpful.
Gabe's on it, Dr. Ling. He's our tech guy this morning.
Host has disabled participant from screen sharing. So host, would you allow participants to share screen?
That's Gabe. He's working on it.
I love this.
You should be able to do it now.
All right, here we go. All right. Okay, share.
Perfect.
Perfect.
It works.
Yeah.
Well, can you see it?
We can.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and I need to go to slideshow. And one more thing I need to do, I gotta see. All right. Oh yeah, here we go. All right. So Donna had asked me to talk about cancer research and how far we have come. And she wanted me to do this about how far we have come in 41 years, something to show great promise, and how the fund from the Run organizer ways are making a difference and how they're being used. And she wanted me to do this in 15 minutes. And I said, okay.
I had 10, I gave you 15.
Okay, I have 10 minutes, whatever. So I said, okay, well, we're trying to rise to the challenge. And so I would say, to make it easier for me, I encourage all Run organizers to just click on the website of TFRI website to learn more about anything I talk about today. It will be on the website in some shape, way, or form. And this deck is available to you if you want to have it afterwards. So the answer to all the questions that Donna has posed to me is, how far have we come in 41 years? You know, and something that is effective, and what has the Run organizer's money raised? And I would just say in 2 words, precision medicine. And I know some of you are already falling asleep and here we go. It's going to be an hour lecture on something that nobody cares or understands about. But you know, I think I'll try and make you care about this because I care deeply about this. So what is precision medicine? Well, precision medicine is really giving the right treatment to the right person at the right time. I think we can all remember that. And I'm going to make my talk as precise as possible, giving you the right words to the right person now at the right time. So what are the goals of precision medicine cancer research? And what have we learned for the last 41 years? So I want to summarize that in 2 simple bullets. Number 1 is, what is the root cause of cancer? We've been doing this for the last more than 41 years. And what are we going to do about it? Very simple, right? What's the cause? But not just what the cause, what is the root cause? And what are we doing about it? Now, there's something that you have to really think about when you're asking these questions. You have to know that even today, by the time a cancer is detected, there are already over 1 million or to over 1 billion cancer cells in that little tumor. The tip of my little finger, you can see that. It's 1 billion cells. The tiny, tiny tip of my finger. And one millionth of that is already 1 million cells, and 1,000 cells. And that is even just the beginning of cancer. Now, the problem is that not all little nodules and tumors and lumps and bumps are cancer. So you can't just go and get rid of everything that looks a little suspicious in the body. Otherwise, you'd be in a treatment clinic all the time, because we all have little warts, little blemishes here and there. And so we cannot overtreat. So the other thing you have to remember is that all treatments have side effects. So we have to balance. That's why precision medicine is important. We got to say, what is cancer? Does it need to be treated? And how we're going to treat it. So this is the image, I think, by analogy, you might relate to. Remember the old days where we used to get stuck on the highway and you're sitting there for about 2 hours and you see the other side coming along on the other lane, moving nice and you're muttering, what's going on in this big traffic jam? I know you wish it was like that now because we're not even traveling at all. It will come, I assure you. You will be muttering again this summer or next summer about what's causing this traffic jam. So what is the root cause of the traffic jam, right? We all know, we all stick our neck out the window and just figure out what's going on. And sometimes by the time we get to what we think is the root cause, there's nothing there. And sometimes when you get past it, you can see, hey, a big semi-trailer had jackknifed. And that's the cause of the traffic jam. Or is that really the cause? Or was it the rabbit that ran in front of the semi-trailer? Or was the driver distracted? Or was it somebody else? There's so many reasons at the root cause of a traffic jam. So the goal of the precision medicine cancer research in the last 41 years has been trying to detect the root cause, or maybe root causes, you want to think of it that way, of cancer. And so some of the things that we have been investing in is like detecting the tumor or the cancer early. And you have to remember now, cancer starts with one abnormal cell, it divides into 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 512, 1024, etc., etc. Every time it divides, it doubles in size. It takes 1 month to get to a tumor of over 1 million cells. And so Dr. Stephen Lamb was one of a translational research project, and he started his project on detecting lung cancer early. We know that if we detect lung cancer early enough, you can cure that cancer by just removing it or radiating it, because it hasn't yet metastasized or escaped. But if you talk to Dr. Lamb, he would tell you that if you look at the lung of a heavy smoker, there are many little lumps and nodules and irregularity in their lung. The question is, which is the right one? Is there a problem? Which one do you remove? So his research was trying to detect which lump, which bump is the real cause, or will be the real cause of lung cancer. And so that is the early detection. Now we also know that there are things what we call a cancer causing cell and the cancer stem cells. And this is in a tumor of 1 million cells, there may be only 1 or 2 cells that are the real cause of cancer. The others are there not because they're a tumor, but they were not spread, they were not metastasized. And so we're going to try and understand which is the cell that's going to metastasize. And then finally, over the last 3 decades of research, so much work has been done on trying to understand the mutations in our DNA that is causing cancer, what they call a driver mutation, the mutation that causes the cancer cell to metastasize, to become the cancer-causing cell. And there are a lot of PPGs along that line. Dr. Joe Connor in the past, Dr. Stephen Jones, and many others. You just have to go to our website and click on our research and learn about some of the PPGs, the translational research that we have supported in the past 15 years. The next thing we want to know is, what are we going to do about it? The best treatment for, once you find the tumor, the cancer, what we're going to do about it. As I mentioned already, Dr. Stephen Lamb's research is to detect it early enough so that before cells has escaped, metastasized, so that you can remove it and you're done. New drugs have been developed by Dr. Martin Glee's group at PPG in BC for prostate cancer. Dr. John Bell, of course, with his oncolytic virus research. It's in Ottawa where he is, but his groups is spread across the country, and using immunology as a way of treating cancer, immuno-oncology. And then sometimes we can use a drug that is indicated for one cancer for another. And finally, remember that sometimes no treatment is the best treatment. And Dr. Michael Taylor in Toronto has shown that some certain brain tumors in children, it's better not to treat them because they would disappear on their own. And it's amazing because we didn't recognize that until we learn from the DNA sequencing that these cancers are different from the other similar cancers that need to be treated. So there are ways of thinking precisely what do we need for each cancer type. So I just want to give you one example, and I promised Donna that I would give one example specifically that say what has precision medicine research done, and in pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer, we know, is a very difficult cancer, but this is one case. It was been published in 2019. It's our EPIC project, Enhanced Pancreatic Cancer Profiling for Individual Cancer. Profiling meaning doing DNA sequencing, EPIC project, the whole genome analysis. And then we know that there's a small subset of people with KRAS mutation that's responsible and positive for the neuroregulin gene fusion. These are all mutations, okay? Don't worry if you don't understand the detail. I don't understand the detail, but here's the principle. That these fusion have produced a protein the drug company have developed a drug for, and it occurs fairly frequently in lung cancer. And so this drug has been approved for use in lung cancer and has been relatively effective. Nobody would have ever thought of using this drug for anything else other than lung cancer for it to approve for it. However, when Dr. Dan Renoff and his team sequenced some of the pancreatic cancer patients, they recognize that they have a same mutation or similar mutation that's found in lung cancer, which the drug was indicated for. So they treated the patient, but there's no other choice, and had a remarkable response. And the patient is hiking and mountain biking, etc., etc. And this was published in Clinical Cancer Research in 2019, and it's also now being used by others because the drug's already being approved for use in patients. So that's what we call a repurposed drug, a drug that indicated for one thing could be used for another thing. So here's an example. Here's actually the real data. Pre-treatment, you can see all the bright spots in the liver of the patient. And then, and after 4 weeks of this anti-lung cancer drug, those bright spots disappear. Amazing, it's a miracle. So what precision medicine we want to do is use what we learn as miracle of today, which may be 1 off, maybe 2 off, maybe 3 off, so that it become a standard of care. And how are we going to go about doing that? We have to invest in precision medicine cancer research. So what will we do about it, right? 2 goals, what is the root cause and what will we do about it? And I just want to tell you a little bit about what you have invested in and what TFI would do about it. Because that's where your money is going. And you have invested and continue to invest in some of the world-class research. I would have to say that, what the Terry Fox Foundation raises only represent about between 2 to 5% all cancer research in Canada. But we want to invest it in a way that makes the most impactful effect. And we have to take risks. We've got to be ahead of the curve, not following the bandwagon. And that's what I think we're best at doing. So you remember 2019 in St. John, Newfoundland, on the day that Terry started Marathon of Hope 41 years ago. And we launched the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network. And these are the children from Outer Cove in St. John's. And they came to help us celebrate the launch of the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network. And they're just amazing. And I would just say that this is what Marathon Hope will do. They will link cancer centers together to collaborate for Precision Medicine Cancer Research. This is our strategic plan roadmap to cure cancer, and you can click onto our website to listen to video on that. We're going to build a research and learning network to share and analyze big data. In other words, the more information we have in precision medicine, the more accurately, more precisely we can prescribe the cancer. And you can also click onto our website on the WWDHDP Digital Health and Discovery Platform to learn about that. And finally, I want to say that the Marathon of Hope and Terry Fox and you guys inspire people. Children for the run, physicians and scientists, and Terry Fox is everywhere. And if I could just share maybe one, do we have a couple more minutes, Donna? I want to share a couple of video in case, but if not, I would just skip it.
We're a little bit over, but I think what you're saying, Dr. Ling, is so important. And for all these people that have worked so hard to raise the money, let's show them how their hard work has paid off.
I want to show this one video. Tell me if you can't hear it.
The Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers is a network driven by big data that will unite the top-tier cancer researchers and clinicians throughout Canada, allowing them to share their data, treatments, and outcomes for each individual. Every time a cancer is treated anywhere in the system, the entire network of collaborators will have access to that data and how that cancer responded to a specific drug or therapy. In this way, every patient who contributes their treatment outcome and genetic data will be, in fact, teaching the network. It will learn and grow, benefiting all Canadians treated within the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centre network in the future. The network will make precision medicine for cancer a reality for Canada. Doctors will be able to create personalized treatments designed specifically for each individual patient. The Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers will act as accelerators, propelling research forward at a rate unimaginable just a few years ago. Embracing innovation and enabling disruptive technologies such as artificial intelligence to lead us boldly into the future. This is the roadmap to cure cancer.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for your dedication, your not give up attitude, supporting cancer research, the Terry Fox Run. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ling. I just really felt it was important today to give all of you a chance to see where the dollars you've worked so hard to raise are going and the differences that we're making and the strides we've made in cancer research thanks to those funds and Dr. Ling and his incredible team. So thank you. It's truly inspiring to see how far we've come along this road in 41 years and where this will take us. I'm delighted now to introduce to you Fred Fox, who in his official title is our Manager of Supporter Relations, but more importantly, he's Terry's older brother, and he's going to share some of his memories of Terry with us this morning. So thank you, Fred.
Thanks, Donna, and you know, so good to see so many familiar faces, not only here in BC, family on the call here as well, and extended family on the call, but also folks that I've gotten so close to know in you know, in Alberta and Manitoba and Ontario as well. So awesome to see everybody. So you know, I think the title of my presentation is you know, Terry and I in Wawa, and when I spoke a few weeks back at the Ontario workshop and I was chatting with Martha, you know, you know, really truly when it comes to my memories 41 years ago of what happened, everything was such a blur for us, our family, for myself in 1980 and 81 that, you know, the memories are a bit of a blur of what happened in Wawa. So I thought I'd also add some memories of what happened in Toronto. You know, when Terry started the Marathon of Hope, You know, I was working, and being a year older than Terry, I was working and living out on my own with my soon-to-be wife Teresa, and I was asked to join Terry at one point during the Marathon of Hope, but I wasn't able to because of commitments for work and all that. And so Daryl was finishing high school, grade 12 in Poco, and joined Terry and Doug in New Brunswick. And so I was able to see Terry a couple of times in Toronto and in Wawa, Ontario. So let me see if I can share my screen. And
We can see it already, Fred. No need to share.
is it already there? Okay, perfect. So so let me get started. Oops, where are we here? Yeah, I can't see it. Okay. So let me do that. And so I've changed the title: Terry, Toronto, Wawa, before and after. And so let me get started. You know, as everybody knows, Terry started in Newfoundland on April 12th. But this photo here, you know, and when Martha had asked if I would speak the Ontario one, I had gone into the garage and pulled out a box that I hadn't opened for a long time, and I found a few items that I hadn't seen maybe only once since 1980, 81, and so I figured, well, maybe now is the time to share those. And this photo here is one that, and a lot of the photos that you'll see I took or were taken with my camera, and but this one here, Mom had taken on Easter Sunday, April 6th, and it's the, you know, Teresa and I on the one side of the table there, and then Terry, and you see Dad at the end of the table. So you know, it was pretty, you know, it was the next day that Terry, you know what, I am having trouble seeing my screen here, so sorry.
We can see you and the photo perfectly, Fred.
The problem is I can't. Let me just see what's going on here. Yeah, because I can't see my screen here right now. Okay, there we go. So Easter Sunday. So let me move on here. So you know, the next day, as Terry was training for the Marathon of Hope and doing all those running miles back home in Poco, and through Coquitlam and Port Moody as well, you know, Terry was journaling every day, just, you know, his mileage and everything else. So he wrote this the next day after Easter Sunday on the Monday, April 7th, you know, and noting that today they were leaving for St. John's. And at that point, you know, Terry had ran 3,159 miles in training. And we all went to the airport that morning on April 7th, and Doug Allward's parents were there as well to send those guys off. Little did we know that it was going to take them 2 days to get to Newfoundland, and I think they dropped down into 6 or 7 different airports along the way. We did fundraising, and we had a dance. We did all kinds of stuff to fundraise to get Terry and Doug to Newfoundland. And you know, none of us, of course, realizing, you know, what Terry and Doug would be facing over the next 4.5 months once they arrived in Newfoundland. So as I said, you know, when Martha had asked me to do the Ontario workshop, I had gone into this box and I found some Terry had written some postcards, and so it was pretty amazing. That, again, you know, only a few weeks ago was only about the second time I'd ever taken time to look at these postcards, just because of the connection and everything else. So this one Terry wrote on April 27th. Terry wrote this only a couple of weeks into the Marathon of Hope, and as Terry was always trying to be funny. Terry wrote, "Hello, Freddie, freeloader, fall off, fart face, Fox, and Teresa. Today is April 27th, averaging 25 miles a day. Hope to do more. Covered 362 miles. Snowed all day, but it didn't stay on the road. Very cold day. Very cold today. So far, it has been great, but tough adventure. We are warmly received everywhere, raising lots of money. So long for now." Terry sent a postcard in every one of the first four provinces. You know, in Nova Scotia, Terry wrote, "Hope you two are well. have ran 714 miles on the Highway 7 in Nova Scotia. Beautiful country, very quiet and peaceful highway. Looking forward to seeing mom and dad in Halifax. Today we are on top of a hill in the country where we can't be found. And even at that point, you know, the momentum of the Marathon of Hope was building, and Terry, although he loved seeing people, he wanted to connect with people and share why he was running. He really valued those times when he could be by himself. And then Terry writing in New Brunswick and saying, you know, hello, hope you are fine. Good to have Daryl here. I've had a tough week. The bucket isn't fitting right. In pain. Hope to get it fixed in Fredericton. Have run to Moncton and St. John now, 15 miles short of Fredericton, and still going. So, you know, all through this, you know, the first time I ever saw Terry really run, never saw Terry run any of those training miles that he was doing back here at home, and saw Terry run for the first time on CBC 6 o'clock news when Terry was in Newfoundland, and finally had the opportunity to see Terry and be with Terry in person in Toronto, and took the red-eye flight, leaving Vancouver around midnight, arriving in Toronto around 7:30 in the morning, got picked up at the airport, and here we are a few hours later, outside of the Four Seasons Hotel in Toronto, getting ready to run down Avenue Road, University Avenue to City Hall in Toronto. And so myself and Daryl Sittler and Terry and brother Daryl, it was truly amazing to be able to run with Terry, finally see in person the impact that he was having on so many people across this country. You'll notice, and many of you probably know, you know, how Terry didn't mind having people running with him, but you had to stay fairly close behind because Terry was really conscious of that extra step that he had to take with his running foot to get the artificial leg through. So here, Terry's running down University Avenue, not very far from City Hall, and in the background is Daryl Sittler and myself running in behind. On the stage and at City Hall at Nathan Phillips Square, Terry had just finished, you know, sharing his story to 10,000 people at City Hall, and Daryl Sittler giving Terry his NHL All-Star jersey. It was an amazing thing, and you know, to be with mom and dad and Judy there at that moment, and to be with Terry, it was pretty cool experience. Photo I took afterwards, and again, you know, after Terry spoke, he came down from the stage and just surrounded by people, everybody wanting to you know, speak to Terry, share a few words with Terry, maybe even shake Terry's hand or touch his arm. It was pretty cool to see. You know, back at the Four Seasons Hotel after that, you know, a quiet moment, similar to what Terry had said in the postcard about being in Nova Scotia, trying to find some quiet time. And then his buddy Doug Allward on the phone, doing what Doug Allward did and helping, you know, supporting Terry along the way. I was with Terry for a couple of days when he was in Toronto before I had to fly back home here to BC. And this picture here I took as Terry's on the lakeshore, heading west, looking towards Oakville and Mississauga. And, you know, the couple of days before, we had gone to a Blue Jays game. You saw the photo maybe earlier of Terry throwing the baseball out at the Jays game. You know, 35 years later, I had the opportunity to do the same thing. And, you know, we had gone to Niagara Falls, up CN Tower, did all the touristy things. It was great as a family, the five of us to be together and enjoying what, you know, Terry was doing. It was a month later, I flew home on July 13th and back to work, and then Teresa and I were on vacation. We jumped in our little car, Teresa's little Toyota Corolla that she had, and we headed east, and middle of August, and not knowing really where we'd find Terry, Daryl, and Doug. And it turned out to be, you know, we arrived on August 15th in just south of Wawa, Ontario. And, you know, as everybody knows, and Terry journaled every day, and we arrived on August 15th, but that day, that evening, Terry had wrote in his journal, he said, "Today was a better day. I slept much better last night after a while anyway. Got up to run, and on my first step, lost my balance and fell. Very cool in the morning. Did 11 and then 15 miles. Awful story in the Globe today. It was trash. They haven't got any idea what the run is about. There are some big steep hills now, and the scenery is absolutely gorgeous. Fred and Teresa come today." The next morning is when Terry ran up Montreal River Hill, and he'd heard about this hill 3 kilometers long for days. The locals had given Terry this T-shirt to wear as he ran up Montreal River Hill. Bill Viggers in the background there, just to Terry's right, and it was amazing to watch Terry take on that challenge and attack that hill like he'd not run any other mile to that point. It was amazing to see him meet the challenge like he's always met it. And Doug Allward, and we all know how important Doug was to to Terry, to Terry, and everything that Terry did during the Marathon of Hope. If not for Doug in those early days, who knows? Terry needed somebody to support him, and there Doug Allward was every minute, every day during the Marathon of Hope. All these pictures in Northern Ontario were taken by myself or by Teresa, and the OPP in Ontario was amazing to Terry. Daryl speaking to the OPP officer there. Who knows? They might have been talking about Daryl driving that camperized van in behind the OPP car, and Daryl not actually having a driver's license at that point. But the OPP was amazing to see the support that they were giving Terry in Northern Ontario. And as Terry would always do as he was running by, if he had a chance to splash some water at you, and then at this point he's sticking his tongue out at me as I'm taking the photo with the OPP in the background. Daryl and I, it was busy times helping, going for a run a little bit in the morning with Terry, and then later in the afternoon on the afternoon runs, I'm supporting Terry in whatever we could do, directing traffic and all of that. When Terry was in Southern Ontario, there were so many people. Terry went all the way, didn't go north from Toronto. He went to London to get as much support as he possibly could, and then back up to Toronto, and then back north. And in Northern Ontario, of course, there is not nearly as many people, but it was amazing those 3 or 4 days that Teresa and I were with Terry and Daryl and Doug, is seeing people getting up early in the morning to see Terry run by wherever they lived. And and I've met so many people that are in their in their 40s, 50s that say that their parents would grab them in the morning, up 7 in the morning. They might have been 5 or 6 years old, and drag them out there and kicking and everything else, that they didn't want to do it, and are so happy that their parents did take them out to the highway to see Terry run that morning, because it's a memory they'll never forget. They kept track of the mileage on the side of the camperized van that Terry and Doug had, and we were with Terry. Terry ran, by the time he got to Thunder Bay, 3,339 miles, and so we were with Terry around 3,051. I think by the time we left Wawa, it was around close to 3,100 miles at that point. I was reading Terry's journal around this time, about August 17th, August 18th, and Terry is noting and is doing some calculations in his journal about how many miles he has to run every day, and when he would arrive back home in BC. And at this point, Terry notes in his journal that he's probably not going to get home until late October, early November, running through the Rocky Mountains, and likely when the snow is blowing through the Rockies. So, again, a picture of me with a slow sign in my hand, again, trying to keep traffic down. Terry, it wasn't always an easy shoulder or side of the road for Terry to run on, and you could see on the other side of that wire fence there, it would be a quick drop down. So trying to get the traffic to slow down for Terry. This is the night before Terry would arrived in Wawa, or made a presentation in Wawa, and we were camped. We were at a campground along the at the Lake Superior, and you know, we noticed, Teresa and I, for the couple of days that we were with Terry, you know, during his water breaks every couple of miles. That evening, this evening that this picture was taken at dinner time, Terry had quite a cough, and you know, we didn't think anything of it. I remember Teresa and I talking about it, and you know, maybe Terry had a cold or the flu or something. Never thinking that, you know, that cough that he was having was had anything else, but that he wasn't feeling very well. Bill Viggers here. Not sure what Bill is doing, but again, that same spot where we were camped that night before Wawa. You know, this photo I took of Terry, it reminds me so much of what it was like to wait for Terry to run by you, especially in Northern Ontario. And those of you that live here in the Vancouver area, you'll know the 4 statues that are at BC Place Stadium, and you know, each one getting bigger. And that's exactly what it was like watching Terry approach you from a distance. You know, he was just this little image, you know, a mile down the road, and as he got closer to you, he got bigger and bigger and bigger than life. Just, you know, and the statues at BC Place, Terry Fox Plaza, just show that. Terry taking a water break. When Teresa and I were with the guys in Northern Ontario, the CBC I Had a Dream, many of you may have seen the I Had a Dream documentary, and the CBC crew was with Terry at that time when we were there and taking footage. So a lot of the footage that you see in the I Had a Dream video is when we were there, and we'd already been with Terry for a couple of days, and they wanted to set up a scene where we had just arrived, and Terry's sitting in the van having a water, having an orange, and I walk up to the doorway, and Terry's pretending that he's acting surprised that we're there. We had a good laugh about that, and they show that in the hour-long version of the I Had a Dream video. So another one of those quiet moments this is in Wawa. I showed you the picture of at the Four Seasons in Toronto, and here Terry is again before the reception at the hockey rink in Wawa. Terry's taking a quiet moment, and then again, Doug Allward on the phone, making contacts, phoning ahead to the media for the next day, making arrangements. It was just, you know, how things went. That night, not the greatest picture, but Terry just finished speaking to a packed hockey rink in Wawa, Ontario, and sharing why he was running. And in Wawa the next morning, August 19th, the very last picture taken of Terry and I, Teresa taking this picture of Terry and I. And, you know, we all see pictures of Terry running, and he's focused and determined and a very serious expression on his face. But Terry was truly somebody who loved to have fun and always joking around, always, you know, playing pranks on people. And here Teresa's taking this picture, and he's hamming it up a little bit. And, you know, not only a few minutes after this picture was taken, Terry's back on the highway running west. Teresa and I had to get back home to work, and so we jumped in the car and drove east and arrived home 2 or 3 days later. This picture is August 19th. So I would say 11 or 12 days later, it's now September 1st, and I'm with my mom and dad. Teresa is with us, Judy is with us, and we're in Chilliwack. The Armed Forces Base Canadian Armed Forces Base used to be in Chilliwack, and they were doing a big fundraiser for the Marathon of Hope on September 1st, and it was Labor Day long weekend, and we're heading home at the end of the day, and we're not very far from Chilliwack, and Dad's driving. He decides to turn on the radio and to listen to the news, and the very first news story is Terry Fox is in hospital in Thunder Bay. And of course, back in 1980, nobody could contact Mom and Dad. There's no cell phones, and we were an hour away still from Poco, and we arrived in Mom and Dad's driveway, got out of the car, and the phone was ringing, and Mom ran into the house to answer the phone, and it was Terry. He'd been trying to get a hold of Mom and Dad all day, and he said to Mom, "Mom, did you hear the news?" And she said, "Well, we heard you're in hospital. What's going on?" And Terry said, "Mom, I have to come back home. The cancer has returned to my lungs. I have to come back home and get better. So mom and dad flew to Thunder Bay, thanks to a great friend, Doug Vader, who lives in Campbell River now and owned a restaurant in Port Coquitlam, and got mom and dad to Thunder Bay and brought Terry home. And a few weeks later, September 19th, Terry received the Companion of the Order of Canada, the highest honor any ordinary Canadian citizen could receive, presented by Governor General Ed Schreier from Manitoba at City Hall in Port Coquitlam. You know, and after that ceremony at City Hall, you know, mom and dad gathered friends and family, and it was a bit of a celebration. It was a really good evening for our family. Terry was very happy, and it was a celebration and joking around as our dad is doing there, and it was quite an evening, something that I'll always remember. You know, I took this picture as well of Terry and our grandmother, our Nana, my mom's mom, and as everybody knows, t-shirt I'm wearing is this year's Terry Fox Run t-shirt design, inspired by our grandmother's Métis heritage and our family's Métis connection, and it was great to have Nana there to celebrate as well. You know, Terry truly believed in September, you know, the Order of Canada, that he'd get back out and continue his Marathon of Hope maybe in the spring of 1981, April or May. And, you know, the treatments they were giving him, he took chemotherapy. They were giving him interferon, which was a fairly new drug, I believe, at the time. And, you know, the treatments just weren't working. The cancer in Terry's lungs had just spread too much. And, you know, by the spring of 1981, you know, we pretty much knew as a family, Terry knew that he probably wouldn't survive, you know, the second diagnosis of cancer. And, you know, in my search, when I, you know, again, just prior to the Ontario workshop there a few weeks ago, I was in the garage and going through this box, and I had just had a birthday back this past May, and I found a birthday card that Terry had given to me May of 1981, May 21st, and you know, I just reading the words in the card, you know, and Terry's I'm sure reflecting on the time that we had an opportunity to spend with each other over the years, and you know. So this is May 21st, and you know, a little over a month later, June 28th, you know, Terry passed away, and you know, this appeared in a Toronto newspaper the next morning on June 29th, kind of symbolizing that Terry was passing on the Marathon of Hope baton onto each and every one of us, and you know, that's what you guys do as run organizers, whether in Ontario or in BC or Manitoba, wherever you are across this country. It's because of folks like you that this has continued for 41 years. Terry said when he was in Scarborough, the day before he arrived at City Hall in Toronto, Terry said, even if I don't finish, we need others to continue. It's got to keep going without me. And that's what you've done for so many, many years. Organizing Terry Fox Runs since you know, September 13th, 1981, 40 years ago. It's people around the world who have kept Terry's dream and commitment going, and $850 million. And thanks to Dr. Vic for his presentation, because that shows the impact that that money that you've raised every year has had on so many lives. You know, Terry truly believed that dreams were made if people try. And you know, we've had the most challenging year that the Terry Fox Run, the Terry Fox Foundation has ever faced. And it's because of your resiliency and that of Terry's. That Terry wanted us to try, and everyone tried like Terry, and all of you did your very best, just like Terry would do every day in making last year so successful. And you know, who knows what's going to happen for 2021? Things are getting better. I'm going for my second dose, my second shot this afternoon. So we're all getting vaccinated, and the run's 3 months away, and who knows, province to province where we'll be. But thank you so much to everybody for what you do. And we just simply, we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for your commitment and that you do in keeping Terry's dream alive. And thank you for letting me share a few very personal memories of Terry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fred. Yeah, I did the tears thing for me last time and this time. So thank you. I just think it's so beautiful to have that opportunity to share things that are so personal and just gives us a bit of an insight into what it was like to be on the road with Terry during that summer. So thank you. And thank you for, I was going to get you to get up and do a twirl, but you've showed the shirt. So that's our beautiful shirt for this year. It's the color is amazing. The story behind it is equally beautiful. So I think it'll be a big seller. Consider that as you're sending us your orders. And those who haven't sent me your orders, I'm still waiting. So now this morning, I would also like to invite and welcome Alison Stoneman. She's joining us this morning all the way from Orillia, Ontario. So not only is she the run organizer in Orillia, she's also one of our Terry's team members. So it's nice to see a few of us in our red Terry's team shirts this morning. Last year I had the chance to work with Alison and Darren Park in Edmonton as we started to roll out kind of a new initiative with our Terry's team members. We know we've always had them, but really highlighting and working closer with this really exceptional group of people. They're really the faces of hope with the funds we've raised, showing that cancer research is working and we are saving lives with that. So we're now working on this national initiative a little bit deeper for this year and working with them to help show this incredible group of people how important it is to help us to raise funds this year. So thank you, Alison, for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. Can I share my screen now, Gabe? Thank you. Can everybody hear me? I'm not hearing anybody. Okay, I'm seeing
Yes.
thumbs up and nodding. That's great. All right. Just gonna fix one more thing here. Okay, and we will start from the beginning. So as Donna let you know, I am a proud Terry's team member and a run organizer in Orillia, Ontario. This is my 20th year as run organizer, and I was on the committee before that. Thank you. But this December, I will be celebrating 25 years since my cancer treatment, and we're gonna have a big party. Hopefully we can do some face-to-face stuff, but I'm proud to be a Terry's team member. And for those of you who might not know, a Terry's team member is a cancer survivor who has had a personal diagnosis of cancer and is at any stage of their treatment or recovery, and stands as an example that cancer research works, that the dollars we're raising are making a difference. So I was very honored to be asked to join Donna and Darren and do some planning for the Terry's team member outreach. And one of the great things that we did last year was we introduced the lawn sign program to our communities. This is the face of the designer. She was our student, Mackenzie Atkinson, last year in Orillia. So Mackenzie did the awesome design for the program. Sorry. The lawn signs, the benefit of the lawn sign program is what I'm going to review first here. And the first thing is it directly connects the Terry Fox Run to cancer research. The people that have these signs on our lawns are our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues. They're people in our own communities, people that we see every day, and they're benefiting by the dollars that people work so hard to raise for cancer research. The second benefit is that communities of any size can use the Terry's team member lawn signs to promote their events. And it's a great visual impact no matter where they are. Urban, rural, small, large, doesn't matter. If people are in an apartment building, they can maybe try and find a front-facing window to place their sign in, so everybody can participate. The number three is lawn signs can enhance outreach to our survivors. And I often hear from our Terry's team members how they love being part of this group. They bond with each other, support each other. They encourage each other. as any survivor knows, sometimes it's difficult to talk about your cancer journey with anybody but other survivors. So it's also a great way for them to give back and raise awareness of cancer research. And they're really thrilled to be able to do that and raise funds for the Terry Fox Foundation as well. The signs also may encourage neighbors and friends to begin a conversation with them that they might not otherwise have. The next benefit we're listing is the program works well within our COVID restrictions. No direct contact is needed. Our volunteers can simply place the sign on the lawn of the Terry's team member and drive away again. No need to get face to face. The fifth benefit I'm listing today is that these signs remind us why fundraising for cancer research is so important. And this young family shown here in the photo, very close to my husband and I. And in fact, they could all use your healing thoughts and prayers right now, as Alex, the Terry's team member shown here with his wife Amanda and son Elliot, is battling cancer again. His first battle was 3 years ago, just after Elliot was born. In fact, he started treatment 9 days after Elliot was born, and started aggressive chemo 3 weeks ago. His cancer has spread and is now stage 3. So I can't think of any better reminder that fundraising for cancer research is important. So the next thing I want to share is how we managed the program in 2020. So we called all of our Terry's team members. Some of our Terry's team members are reluctant to be public about their cancer journey, and that's perfectly okay. I have a volunteer who's volunteered with us for over 20 years. Partway through that, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, had successful treatment, and didn't want to wear the red shirt. Totally believed in Terry, fundraised every year, volunteered every year, didn't want to wear the red shirt. Well, several years later, she's now wearing the red shirt and was very proud to host a lawn sign on our lawn that year. But certainly it's not for everybody, and that's okay too. We call in some of our volunteers, post the signs. It was great to finally have some work for them to do. In the COVID year, we didn't have our traditional volunteer duties to do. So it was nice to have something for our volunteers to take part in. And it's good to keep people active and helping out with the event. So so our volunteers had a route to take on to put out these signs. So we've got permission from the Terry's team members. The volunteer shows up, puts a lawn sign on their lawn, and then leaves them with a little note from me saying, we've posted the sign. It was designed here in Aurelia, so that's where we are, but obviously that wouldn't be part of what you would share. But we just wanted to thank them. And then also to let them know that we'd be picking up the signs on October 5th. And I left my number and email address in case they had any questions at all. And then October 5th, we had our volunteers pick up the signs. We decided to leave them up a couple of weeks after the Terry Fox run for exposure and any last minute donations or reminders to people who might have forgotten to take part on run day itself. And we wanted the volunteers to collect the signs after the event was over so that they were in our care. And although it's not nice for us to think about, we do have to consider the fact that some of our Terry's team members might not be with us in 12 months when we want these signs up again. So whether they move away or have lost a battle with cancer or something else. So it's much easier to pick up the signs and store them and then replace them next year for our event. So our plans for 2021, we're going to try and start posting the signs earlier, and we're going to try to encourage more of our survivors to host a lawn sign. It was kind of a last minute push last year, so we didn't get as many out as we'd hoped, but we have good plans, great plans for this coming year. I just want to quickly go over a few things that we've done to grow our Terry's team member program here in Aurelia. The photo on the left is my first as a Terry's team member. That was 1998. And there's some great people in that photo. And the one on the right is from a couple of years ago, obviously not from last year, but we have just over 70 Terry's team members right now on our roster. Not all of them get to take part in the picture because most of them, some of them are volunteering on our registration table or manning water stations or route marshaling. A lot of these people will run or walk afterwards, or they go to their own volunteer positions. This is a picture of Joanne. She's our Terry's team coordinator, and that's her mom with her. That's her mom, Wilma, who was a very proud Terry's team member. She took great comfort in connecting with Terry's team members in the last few years of her life. Unfortunately, Wilma has since passed away, but we remember her fondly. And she's a great reason for us to grow this program. We try and develop relationships with all our Terry's team members. Joanne, as our Terry's team coordinator, keeps in touch with them all summer long, connecting about t-shirts, volunteering, fundraising, make sure they have their pledge forms and that kind of thing. We also involve our Terry's team members in every aspect of our run. We invite them to our flag raisings, our farmers markets, our Canada Day parade. The photo in the top right, you'll see Elvis in that picture. Now that's not any Elvis, that's a roller skating Elvis. And he actually takes part in our Canada Day parade every year. And he gets so excited to see our float, our little truck. He comes over and talks to us, and he takes part in our Terry Fox run every year too. So he comes on his roller skates and in his uniform. And then we also have an annual breakfast. For the last several years, this wonderful restaurant, and it's called Bayside Restaurant, in case any of you ever get to Aurelia, hosts our Terry's team members for a complimentary breakfast. And it started as a kickoff to Terry Fox Week here in the city of Aurelia, and as a media event. We invite all the media to join us, but it's really turned into something more with our Terry's team members. They've really bonded, and they appreciate the supportive time for each other, sharing similar histories, speaking openly to each other. And it's also turned into a fundraiser. There's a big jug at the far end of the table, just in front of Terry, that our ambassador, Rick Ball, who's a one-legged amputee marathon runner, he takes it around the restaurant. It's a pretty big restaurant. So Rick takes his jug around. He always makes sure to wear shorts so his prosthetic leg is showing, and wears his Terry Fox shirt proudly, and he collects money for everybody in the restaurant. And we always people stopping by to tell stories. The man standing beside Rick there in the back stopped to tell us his Terry Fox story. He saw Terry Fox when he was young. So it's just a great day. And then we always have a Terry's team member speak at our opening ceremonies. The last year it was by video, but this is a picture of Jenny Stringer in 2019. And Jenny's in a trial program that is partially funded by Terry Fox Foundation funds, and she credits the program and the Terry Fox Foundation and the dollars that our donors raise with giving her the quality of life that she has today, despite her terminal illness. We also use these, our designer, Mackenzie, designed these frames that we use for our social media posts of photos and videos for our TTMs. And I'm just gonna try to play this video if I can. Just very short, 15 seconds. So those frames really came in handy to give us our brand, show, this, so people could get used to that when they see the sign or the frame. This is our Terry's team member speaking and telling their stories. So I'm going to end with this last video. We recorded this last summer when we couldn't gather with our entire group of 70 or so Terry's team members. We invited as many people as could join us this evening in our park. This is usually where we start our Cherry Fox Run. And we were following the COVID guidelines at the time. So we're all standing 6 feet apart. You'll see that most of us have our masks in our hands, and the videographer was also wearing a mask and standing 6 feet back. So I just want to end with the faces of some of our Terry's team members. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. That was beautiful and just really highlights this really special group of people. So if you're looking to have signs for the TTMs in your community, certainly reach out to me. We're looking to bring them to more survivors for this year and make sure we get them registered as Terry's team members for this year. And so we can help get them set up on their fundraising as well. So I'm more than happy to have a chat with any of you about this program at any time. So now I would like to welcome Lori Teasdale. She is our run organizer for the Terry Fox Run here in Coquitlam. She's been on the committee since the run started there in 2010, and this year is taking on the lead role as the run organizer. So I know last year, a lot of you decided couldn't take shirts, didn't know how to sell shirts, weren't comfortable in selling shirts. Some of you got very creative in your ways to sell shirts. And Lori and her group was certainly one of them. So she's going to take a few minutes this morning just to show what they did last year, how they executed their sale of t-shirts and how successful it was for them in Coquitlam. So thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Donna. Yes, we kind of did a little bit of a pivot last year with not being able to have the in-person run, and started to for the first year sold t-shirts. We connected with our Coquitlam Center Mall, and we connected with them to sell t-shirts the last weekend of August over 2 days, and very strict protocols, COVID protocols were in place that we had to comply with, which was great to keep everyone safe. We promoted the event on our Facebook page. So we actually had a lot of people coming over to the event just because they'd seen us posting on Facebook. We sold a lot of t-shirts. We were actually scrambling, asking Donna for more t-shirts after day one because it was so successful. And we had a raffle where we gave away a $150 gift card. If people showed up, they had one entry. If they bought a t-shirt, they got another entry. And if they registered for the run, which we were helping with on site, they got another entry. So it was just a really successful event. Our team of volunteers were fantastic to cover 2 days of selling t-shirts at the mall. And we are set to do it again this year, last weekend of August as well, to sell t-shirts at the mall. So it's really, it was a fantastic fundraiser, very successful for our group, very happy.
I'm going to share my screen with everyone so you can see the poster that Lori did. Can you see that?
Yes.
Great. So this is the poster that, did you want to talk a little bit about that one, Lori?
Yeah, it just was showing the t-shirt and where we would be located in the mall so that people could come and find us in the mall and come and buy some t-shirts.
And then there is another small poster about the raffle.
That's right. So it went over the details of what they could win and how they can get entries into the raffle. We also had just, if people didn't want to buy a t-shirt or wanted to donate in addition to buying a t-shirt, we had a donation bin as well, which was very successful, just to get donations on site.
And Lori, how many shirts did you sell that weekend?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Donna might be the one. I will say we sold out and then needed more as well, right?
On the Saturday alone, they sold 98 t-shirts, and they were phoning me, and it's like, I need to get to the office. I need some more shirts. And so some of them, they sold the shirts, and if they didn't have them there for that day, we took names. We knew they were paid for, and my front porch became porch pickup for a couple of weeks. So,
so we need to adjust our order for this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
We obviously were more successful than we anticipated.
Amazing. Thank you.
So excellent opportunity.
Sorry, I think I cut you off there a little bit.
Laura. No, it just was a fantastic opportunity. And it was a great way to connect with the community, given that we couldn't have an in-person run.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Lori. Yeah, we know it was hard last year, and Lori and her team did a really great job in getting creative with it. And I know even last year at that time, the malls weren't as open as they tend to be now, especially here in BC. I know I wasn't going to the mall, so I think a lot of people who were, I think it was a really great opportunity. So just different ways you can think about getting involved. And if you need insurance for your mall, the office can certainly help you out with that and put that in place for you. So last but certainly not least of our speakers for today is the incredible Martha McClue. So Martha is the operations director for Ontario and Quebec, and Martha's with the foundation for 30 plus years. So she lives, breathes, eats Terry Fox. Her family's been involved, I think, pretty much since the beginning. It's really amazing. There's been some pictures of Terry's run in Toronto shown along the way, and Martha's mom is in the background cheering him on. So we know we kind of need some new and creative ways to kind of help you guys out with fundraising this year. And so we've got some new techie things coming out. And so Martha's going to take a few minutes just to share those ideas with you. And again, everything you're going to see here today, we're going to share this presentation and bits and pieces of it. If you need that, we're going to share that with you as well. So you'll have all the tools to take away at the end of this morning. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you so much, Donna. It is honestly such an honor to be on this call with you guys today. Thank you so much for inviting me. We are such a great family, and I feel like last year brought us together in ways that we never could have imagined, and we thrived. So kudos to you guys. Those are amazing stats that Donna gave at the beginning of the workshop, and it's just such an honor to be able to work on Terry's legacy with all of you remarkable people. So thank you for that. I am kind of excited. I am, as Donna didn't say, old. I'm old. And I'm not particularly tech savvy. My daughter rolled her eyes at several times last night as we were doing things on the couch. But I am all about raising more money for Terry Fox and for cancer research. So this is going to be an exciting time for Terry Fox. I think those of you who are looking for us to be doing something different, I think we are going to be showing up. And I think we are going to also be making sure that we do what Terry asked us to do. So I'm just going to share with you guys a few pieces today about the new tech that we're going to be doing. All right, let me share my screen. That would be number one, start. And I've got to flip you guys over. I have two screens. It's very, very savvy, but it makes me sweat. So, okay, excellent. Can you see my screen, you guys? Yes? Excellent, thank you guys. Yes. Okay, so we're calling this Tech Tools 2021. Those of you who know me, Allison Stoneman is probably laughing. She's like, okay, Martha's more for hugging, not for tech. So I'm going to make sure that we are pulling Terry Fox, the most beautiful human being that ever existed, that used a phone booth into the 21st century. All right, so we are going to be starting today with some announcements about where we're going now for the next year. Those of you who've been with us for a long time, I think will probably be very, very excited to know that the very, very blue Terry Fox website is not going to be any longer. It is, we're revamping, and actually not even revamping, we're completely relaunching the website. It's going to be a beautiful celebration of the man that we work so hard to do justice to. It is going to be about his spirit, how he inspires us, how he inspires millions of Canadians. And I think it's going to do him justice. And it's going to inspire the people that come there to do good things, to raise money, and to help us find a cure. So keep an eye out. I'm very grateful, by the way, to Michael Mazza, who, as we were struggling a little bit, as you guys know, we have a few programs, schools and communities. We were struggling a little bit on our schools to figure out how do we engage children, not as just as fundraisers, but to look at them as humans and with the potential to do great things in our world, and who are already doing great things in our world. And so Michael gave us permission to do what they call a microsite for our school runs. And that is going to have a different feel. It's going to have a different look, and it's going to be about these kids, about how they could be like Terry, how they could be courageous. So I'm just so excited that we're going to be doing this and that we'll release it to you guys. Mid-July, we're going for. So as I said, you know, this beautiful man, I have had the honor in the last year to be working a lot on the social media posts. And, you know, we are this year, you probably, or many of you who follow us, can see that we're sharing a bit of Terry's journal from every day. And as Fred read, you know, they're the most, as Fred said, it was very interesting to me at the beginning of the call where he said, you know, maybe Terry had an idea. I mean, he was so remarkable. I want to swear there because that's how remarkable I think he is. But Michael Mazza is also on this call, so I'm going to try to be good so I don't get a HR mark at the very beginning of my term. But this is such an incredible, he was so far ahead of his time, such an innovator. And to think that maybe Fred I think might be right. Did Terry ever imagine one day that those words would be there to inspire Canadians? I'm believing it more and more as we post every day's journal and I see what he writes. So it's funny today, I wanted to pull this picture in because we're about to talk about technology, that if Terry had this technology in 1980, $100 million this man would have raised. I mean, you know, here we are, you know, there's I think that man in the very unpleasant short shorts back by the donations car is Bill Viggers, the extraordinary PR man for Terry. But, you know, out there would have been Fred, not on this day, but Fred and Daryl with their Kentucky Fried Chicken boxes collecting cash, and policemen collecting it, and OPP in their helmets. So as we go through this today, I like to think about how Terry would have embraced this and what it would have meant for cancer research in 1980. So what we're going to do with it in 2021. So first of all, we're going back. Some of this is a little weird. It's amazing. It's kind of back to the future. We introduced a text to donate number a few years ago. And no one's probably ever called the Terry Fox Foundation on the cusp of technological innovation, but on a couple of our, the beautiful monument in both St. John's and the beautiful monument in Vancouver by Doug Copeland, both have the text to donate number. And Michael did mention, now I think Fred mentioned that he's worried that the number in Vancouver might be wrong. So that we may have to check on, but we're going to be going back to this year. This is again, a little bit going to be, we sort of re-triggered it for the broadcast benefit that Michael mentioned earlier. As you can see, it's a little bit more limiting as far as the technology goes, because usually it's a set amount. And so you can see here in August, we're going to be expanding those donations. As Terry Fox Run organizers, we know how incredibly proud you are of your results. So this text to donate, we cannot allocate to Terry Fox Runs specifically. It goes into our general pool. But some of this other technology will. So you're going to see this going forward. We're introducing it back in. This is a little blurry, so I apologize for that. This is our QR code. We're very happy that we've been able to brand it with the Terry Fox name right in the middle there. This is going to be one of our big initiatives this year. If you hold your camera up, for those of you who are not tech savvy, if you hold your camera up and open it, hold your phone up and open your camera. Dear God, oh, excuse me, dear Lord, dear, okay, someone. You just hold it, your camera open, and it will open up, and it'll open up a little link at the top, and then you can click right on it, and it will take you right now to our beautiful Donate for Terry Fox donation page. So these are going to be customized. I just wanted to show you guys, just because everyone's tech savvy in a different way. There's obviously, and whether they have iPhones or Android, or so there's different things that you'll see when you open it up, just so that you're comfortable with it.
there's a little bit of explanation. The way that we're seeing this moving forward is very exciting. The QR code, unlike the text to donate, is actually customizable. So we're going to be doing a pilot project this year, and we are going to be providing a set of run sites with the stickers for their lawn signs. You can see there's a little beautifully done graphic there, lawn signs, and on our posters. This is not a current poster. We're redoing our posters this year. And it'll go right to the donation page of your run site. So every run site has a specific donation page set up on our website. And so when you open your phone, it will actually say, thank you for donating to the Kamloops Terry Fox Run. And that person then donating knows that they will be obviously donating to their special community Terry Fox Run. We thought that was a really, really important way to connect you to your community and for your community to support you back. So that is going to be a little bit of a pilot project this year. I'm sure Donna will be letting people know how we've selected the runs, and it'll be part of our growth plan going forward. These runs will also receive this beautiful lanyard, which is going to be for the Terry Fox Run organizers or your committee members to use if we are so permitted by public health to be able to get back out into the community. We're going to be providing it again. We'll have on the back, you'll see in a second, the back, what it looks like. It will again go again to your run site. So you'll be able to use that for people to be able to donate as you meet them in the mall displays, as we were just hearing about, and in different opportunities that maybe come up this year. Looking forward, we think it has some very exciting potential to help us on run day. As you can see here, these lovely run organizers, they are desperately not wanting you to give them a cash or a check. They would much prefer it to go directly to the run through the online system and get a tax receipt right then and there. So that'll be a really big part of our evolution for 2022 as well. As you can see, here's a little bit about the user experience, just as I described, the lovely lanyard with our beautiful Terry Fox on the front. Then there'll be the QR code on the back. And for the runs, for our run organizers, it won't have their run organizer name, because we want it to be able to be passed around on a committee if possible. They'll get 3, the runs that are in this pilot. They'll get 3 of these lanyards. It will say Terry Fox Run, Vancouver or Edmonton. And it will say certified volunteer or fundraiser. The reason this one says fundraisers is because this is a very big effort by us, and we are going to need your help. We would like to help those who are still using pledge sheets to gradually move to online fundraising. These are a remarkable group of people who raise over $2 million. So we know it's going to be a work in progress, but we feel like something like this would probably make them feel very comfortable and not have to necessarily be completely aware of how the online system works. We would help them set an online page up. We would give them this QR code, and they would be off to the races. Not pledge sheets, of course, still they can use those, but we would be helping them move to our new technology. So our goal, Michael Mazza has encouraged us to set some stretch goals. And so our stretch goal is to get 700 pledge sheet fundraisers engaged with our new QR code approach. So it's exciting, and you guys know your people. So if you can start to think of people, if you can talk it up to some of your fundraisers, we really, really would like to help people. I think this is probably the best way that we've been able to help people move forward on technology without expecting a lot back from them. It can be very intimidating. My mom, who's, oh gosh, I almost told you her name, her age number, who's older, she's incredible on the computer, but she still struggles on some of these online platforms. So I like the fact that we could be helping people help us. I think that's a great approach to it. So we'll come back to that. We'll provide more information for that later. This is another little pilot project for us. It's called Tip Tap Pay. It's an exciting opportunity. It's definitely a little bit more of a limited group this year. I think we only have 10 pilot projects going with this at the moment. It's literally you just tap your credit card I'm a big fan of that because I realize I absolutely have no cash anymore. I can't quite believe that. So it's lovely as well. It gives people the opportunity to donate at different amounts, which, as we know, for Terry Fox is very, very important. We like people to give what they can. So here you go. It's a very cool little thing. It's a sign. It's also very helpful because it can be unmanned or unwomaned. And so it allows you to leave it at places where there's some high traffic. And again, you know, the timing is a bit unfortunate in terms of how many places will have high traffic this year, but it's an exciting way for people to actually see the foundation as technologically savvy or technologically looking forward. So, and also again, you know, we don't want to limit anybody. If they want to give 5, of course, that's wonderful. If they want to give 100, they can tap it 5 times. So that gives us a great opportunity as well. So we're going to be analyzing the results from this this year, and then we'll be considering moving it out as well, farther into Terry Fox communities, and also perhaps trying to engage some corporate support. Because as you can see, here are some of the organizations that use TipTap, and in very creative ways. Like I must say, when I saw someone with a TipTap on the bucket at a Santa Claus parade, I thought, is that not Terry Fox like? You know, like it really feels very, very us as well. So there's lots of opportunities, and you imagine, you know, you guys have, as Allison said, this amazing restaurant that donates the breakfast for her Breakfast of Champions, I think Al calls it. And we, you know, amazing if we could have these on tables and diners can just donate $5 or $10. So I'm incredibly excited by this this particular piece of technology, and I look forward to having it move out further in the organization. It's also, by the way, very important for us, very you don't have to be tech savvy to use it. I think for us, that is a huge plus. We're also introducing a new app. So last year we had an app called MoveSpring, which as its name indicated was more about movement than fundraising. And while I am a tremendously fit individual and I believe in exercise, I only care about fundraising. So MoveSpring is still around. We're actually offering it to companies as part of perhaps wellness weeks or wellness opportunities, part of maybe internal team building to get them engaged. But we are introducing a really wonderful new app, and it's all about fundraising. So we haven't started the obviously the design phase yet, so I don't have something to show you guys. Again, it will be early August when this launches. It will be connected to your fundraising page in our TES, our online platform. So it will talk to each other. You can see how well you're doing. You will also see, which is very exciting, how well your run site is doing. So as people register and the money starts to raise, you can just open up your app on your phone and you can say, oh my gosh, look, we've raised 10,000, we've raised 20,000, and the excitement builds. So that was important for us so that you guys could also be connected to the fundraising that's going on at your run. We can certainly provide this obviously data at a little bit of a later date. It's just about really all of the functionality that it has. There's fundraising leaderboards that says here, this is their information. We obviously don't do leaderboards. But there will be some fun badges for as you have new donations, you get new badges and things like that. So it's quite interactive, and I think it actually could have application for a younger generation too. And most importantly, it's wonderful because you can use you can use it also with all of your social media functions as well. So I realized I never actually asked people through my LinkedIn, so that's going to be a new thing for me in 2021. And this is, I have to say, I was very envious last year, even though we absolutely rocked it, as you guys know. I was envious that the Run for the Cure had this amazing app with an avatar. And as you in their case, raised certain amounts, you hit certain numbers. I think ours will be based on pledges. You could pick a new shirt to put on your avatar, or you could put on new running shoes, or you could put a hat. Anyway, I know that's sort of goofy, But I love that concept. And it could be all like, we could have great messages, like almost a little bit like the Adidas shirts. So as you get 5 donations, you can say, I want to set an example that'll never be forgotten. So I think that'll be a fun way to get people engaged in the app. We had a good user participation rate on our old fundraising app, but this one I think is going to be very, very easy to market for us, and I think people will pick up on it. It's also in both the Apple and the Android stores as well. And then just to end it, the numbers. This is obviously from the company. They're interested in promoting their own app, obviously, but the numbers are pretty impressive. And as we know, we see that online fundraisers raise an average of $300, and pledge sheet fundraisers raise around $160. So, moving people online, the benefits are tremendous. They save the foundation money, we raise more, it's easier for the online the participants. They don't have to deal with checks and cash. We all, I think we're all very aware of that, but it gives us a good opportunity to be able to move people forward, again, with a technology that's actually simple to use as opposed to makes you sweat. Well, actually, that's a pun. MoveSpring made me sweat, and it didn't help me raise any more money. So this one is easy to use, and it's going to help us raise a lot of money. So thank you, guys. I'm so glad to be able to share some of this technology with you. I'm so excited that the foundation is engaging with this technology, and is going to. I think it's going to be important for our community and our participants to see how well we are moving forward with a new type. And I like to think that Terry would be saying about time. So thank you, guys. Thanks, Donna, so much for having me. It's just such a pleasure to see everybody today.
Thank you, Martha. And thanks for sharing some new ideas and where we're going. And like I said, anything we can do to help support and increase your fundraising for this year, that's what we're here for. So I apologize that we are 16 minutes over time. It's really hard to harness passion, as you all know. But I'm glad that those of you who are able to stick with us to the end, I teased you with prizes, and in the saving of time, we've already gone ahead and drawn them. So I will just quickly, Mary Finley and Gibson, you are the winner of a candy basket I have here from Coquitlam Florist. Shauna came up on the screen. I'm thinking that's Shauna Scabar, my organizer from Fraser Heights. If so, we have 2 of the new books from last year signed by Fred Fox. Loretta Winia of Red Deer, you are the winner of a hoodie, a hat, a 40th anniversary hoodie, the hat and the t-shirt. Just let Christy know. Gabe's modeling the sweatshirt. Let Christy know what size you would like, and we will get that out to you. We have another set of books, Terry by Douglas Copeland, as well as His Story by Leslie Scrivener, also personally signed by Fred. Those are going to the cooks, and those are my amazing organizers in Summerland. Courtney Hill and Victoria's West Shore, you are the lucky winner of a hoodie and a hat from the Port Coquitlam Downtown Business Improvement Association. Amy Brown, I don't think I know you, so if you can just maybe in the chat let us know where you're from. We have for you a Tim Hortons card, a gift from myself. Carrie Smith in Vanderhoof is a winner of an Adidas water bottle and an apparel piece that they have yet to let me know what it looks like, but we will get that out to you. And Lori Hutching, you are the winner of a beautiful Suitables bracelet that was gifted by Kim Smith in the Ontario office. So as we,
Winnipeg.
Pardon me?
Amy is from Winnipeg.
Fantastic. Welcome, Amy, and welcome, Winnipeg. I will get that out to you. So as we kind of wrap up this morning, I again thank you all for being here with us. Thank you for your patience as we run a little bit over. I think we gave heart failure because he tries hard to keep us on track, but it's hard, like I said, to harness the passion. So in just ending things today, I wanted to share something with you that has always been, I think, one of my favorite pieces that's been written in regards to Terry. And I just wanted to leave you with some of my favorite words from Douglas Copeland that come from the book Terry. He's also the creator of the beautiful statues here at Terry Fox Plaza at BC Place. It's called What If? On a fundamental level, Terry's life makes us ask, what if? What if Terry had never lost his leg to cancer? Or what if he'd thought about doing the run and then decided not to do it after all? He might have survived, but also maybe not. And if he had survived, he'd probably have found a good job, gotten married, had a family. His life would have had the dignity and importance that all of our lives share. Sure, he might have wondered what if for the rest of his life, but that's what many of us do. The world would have kept spinning. everything would have been the same, and yet nothing would have been the same. You and I wouldn't be the same. The way we view life and death and courage and strength wouldn't be the same. Sometimes we all feel like we're just one person here on earth. Why does anything matter? Why do any of us bother going on? But the fact is that we do go on, and all of us matter. And maybe if we follow Terry's example of going for one more difficult choice over all the other ones, our lives will take on a meaning greater than we ever might have dared hope. So thank you. You all greatly matter to all of us. Terry's dream would not have endured. I'm not going to get through a workshop without tears, so I apologize for that now. Would not have endured 41 years later. We know how difficult last year was, and the virtual runs were not what any of us had signed up for, and certainly not what any of us were used to. But in the last year and a half since this pandemic, we've all had to take that more difficult road and those difficult choices in life. And I just think about how it's all changed us really for the better now. And because we knew, we knew we needed to do this for Terry. So thank you. Thank you for being here today. Anybody who would like to continue to join us, we're going to stay on here for a little bit and answer questions, share those virtual hugs if we can. The presentation has been recorded and we will send that out to everybody. And if you're looking for the specific pieces and presentations shared, we will have those available to you as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'll send you all a quick poll. It should take you 2 minutes. See if you can do it for us. But thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to connecting with all of you again soon. Oh, let's see. Can you guys see the results live? I can see the results live.
It was up there, now it's gone off my screen. Oh, that's awesome.
Can I relaunch? Oh, what happened? Sorry, try again. Okay.
Oh, technology.
Oh, look at that. Great.
How we embrace you.
This is working now. Also, 53% likes the QR code scans, 38% likes the tip tap to donate, and then text to donate and new fundraising app are not that popular. But thank you for letting us know. This is great information, and allows us to move forward.
Perfect. I hope you all try some form of it with us this year, and we'll see how it goes.
And stick around if you want. We'll keep the channel open so we can have conversation. I'm gonna unmute everyone right now so we can have like the big chat conversation.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. You guys rock. We have the best people from coast to coast.
Thanks so much, everyone.
It was really interesting to see how many people are interested in some of this new technology. We're trying new things. It's great to hear that you guys are interested.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
So inspiring.
Thanks, Barb. Barb, you're the face of inspiration. Barb is a 4-time cancer survivor.
Wow.
4 times. She wears that red shirt and rocks it. She's our organizer for Princeton here in BC.
Wow.
Thank you, Donna.
This was so great. It is so lovely to be able to finally meet. I would never have thought that Zoom, which I think largely most of us hate on a daily basis, can be such a delightful experience on a personal basis.
What else were you going to do on a Saturday morning? Like, seriously, right?
Yeah. Well, have you guys opened up in BC?
We have a 4-stage rollout plan here in BC. So you can now dine inside a restaurant with 6 people that don't live in your household. So for the longest time, there was no indoor dining. Well, the only indoor dining was with people that lived in your household, and then indoor dining was closed again. And now we're 6 people that do not live in your household. So 6 of us crammed around a table in a keg restaurant a week or so ago and enjoying each other's company.
We went for a diner for the first time for breakfast for the first time in many months. And it was awesome. We as a family, I mean.
We are going downtown tonight for cocktails and dinner with friends. And It was like a holiday.
That is, oh
All the
my
things we
God.
took for granted, right? Whoever thought you get so excited that you were allowed to go to a restaurant, or that were things that we were not allowed to do. I mean, this is 2021.
I know.
Crazy to think about.
It is crazy. And thank you, Fred Fox, for yet another. Where did Fred go?
Fred is not there, but yes. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there's
There he
Freddie. Freddie, so I have to say, like, we're now calling Fred the president. So yet again, I have no idea about technology. And so I only found out about this presentation stuff for my son using Prezi. But then, like, amazingly, Fred is like just flying up his photos, and he's, you know, do you find it easy? Like, do you like that better, Fred, than like having to do a PowerPoint and clicking and having everything, like having to click through and not be able to see everybody? Like, it's nice to be able to see you when you're presenting.
Like when you're doing it virtually like this, it works pretty well. Really good. It's nice. But yeah.
But you're desperate to get out.
Like Terry, Martha. I tried like Terry.
You succeeded. You tried and you succeeded.
Show us your try.
So poor Fred, though. I mean, if we're talking about us not getting out, Fred normally, by this time, Fred, you would have done 3 cross-Canada trips since we got shut down in last March, right? So Fred has literally been the most, and Fred will go, like, if Fred comes to your community and you can't house him, he brings his tent. Like, he's an incredibly adept traveler, this man.
And that, yeah.
Yeah. Is it only Ontario, Fred, that we couldn't get you a place and you had to camp? That's something about Ontario. Damn. That's
We'll
awesome.
get Fred on the road next year for sure.
I think we had him on the island, and the place we booked him in had the wrong date, and he showed up and they didn't have a spot for him.
No. What did you do, Fred?
Well, I'll say it was an Albertan that booked that, though. So it was.
It was an Albertan that booked it. Yeah, it wasn't me.
But not an Albertan on the call.
No,
That's
not.
straight.
No.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. No, well,
So
listen,
sure.
I used to travel with, as Donna said to you guys, I used to, been around for so long, I used to travel with Betty. And that woman had the patience of Job. Now, you didn't want to be on the wrong side of that patience. Fred, were you ever on the wrong side of your mother's patience?
All the time.
Oh. And I think I might have been a 5th child, because I was also on the wrong side of Betty Fox's impatience. But honestly, she was remarkable. Fred has honestly filled her shoes so incredibly, because both Fred and Betty are, you know, they're like, give me the agenda, tell me where I go. Now, Fred is super duper independent. Betty didn't drive. Of course, we would never have had Betty drive, but we all drove with Betty and went to the presentations. And it's been, Donna, did you travel with Betty when you first joined? I can't remember where Betty was in her career here.
No, she had just kind of stepped down, because I came on board in May of 2005. But did have a chance to attend a few presentations that she did give, though. But no, never had the honor of traveling with her.
Yeah. No, it was quite, I will tell you, I won't tell you the whole story, because you guys already know I can talk long.
Just the Miata?
Boxers, right? Well, first of all, around the time, if you guys, I don't know if you know the name Paul Bernardo, who was a serial killer in Ontario, right? Serial rapist. Very weird topic to bring up on a Terry Fox call. But Paul Bernardo was in the midst of what was happening, and I was driving Betty to Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is down in the St. Catharines area. And I ran out of gas on the QEW, the Queen Elizabeth Way in Ontario. I don't know if any of you've been on it, but it's like, well, it's a worse version of the 401. Let's just say that. So I had to pull over, and I had to get out of the car and leave Betty. I was driving a little Miata. So I left Betty on the side of the QEW with massive transport trucks rushing by. And I had to go down a ditch, over a fence, down a rural country road, and knock on the door to say, hi, I'm sorry, I'm traveling with Terry Fox's mother, and I've run out of gas, and I need a phone. Back, like, no phones, right? We had no cell phones back then. Oh my gosh, what she lived through. And when I got back, she was just still, like, an hour later, she was just casually sitting in the car. The car was shaking as the trucks went by, and then she was just hanging out in the car, had complete faith in me, probably not, but pretending she had complete faith in me as we waited for the run organizer to come rescue us. So it could be the reason that Fred doesn't actually want to travel with staff. Fred, could that maybe be why? You're gonna be too nice, aren't you?
Yeah.
Here's a reminder.
I like my own time kind of thing too, so that's a bit of it. But then when I'm traveling in the